We've talked about the hecticness of the holidays, but also we have Yule right around the corner, also winter solstice, which is Sunday, December 21st. And what that is it's the return to light. We've got this balanced day equinox where, excuse me, we've got this balanced day of returning to light energy, and we are wanting to make sure that we are mindful during this time of year, slowing ourselves down, trying to combat some of that feeling of hecticness. I fortunately, my boys are grown up, so I've got some older kids, and I'm not as caught up with all the middle school hecticness. But if you are, this is for you. If you're somebody that's really struggling with this time of year, you're pulled in a million different directions. One of the key words that I constantly am telling myself throughout my life is slow down, slowing down. Just that simple reminder to bring you back in to ground and center. And we've got a visual to help you with that using candles. So we're going to go through just a little bit about the tools that we're going to be using, and then we're going to get into more of the magic, the spiritual element to this. So let's start with the mundane first. Why candles? Why do we do something other than just sit in prayer or meditation? Why use tools or something tangible? Well, we operate with our five senses. So often that means having something that we visually can see, something that we can touch or smell. For those of us that are maybe prone to a little bit more nervous, anxious energy during the holidays, it's an ideal a tool to be able to take all of that swirling energy going within and put it into something tangible. So we're purging all that energy and tangibly putting it into something that is productive instead of letting it swirl inside of us. So candles are a very simple tool for that. We all have seen these before. You can get these even at the dollar store, within the Hispanic food section of your grocery store. And white, you're going to see me demoing with white candles today because white is more of an all-purpose, general purpose color. Now, these novenas, 9-day candles, also known as vigil candles, are one of the diviners, divination tools because of this glass encasement. So as the candle burns, we'll see marks that are on the glass, and those are a divination tool, chiromancy, pyromancy with divination with the flame. We're looking at the different ways that we can see burn patterns. Now that's kind of an advanced candle magic. So we're going to keep it really simple for this today. But if you see these candles often associated with candle magic, that's the reason why, because we've got this clear glass that really allows for this ease of divining or interpreting those burn patterns or the soot patterns, the wax residue. Those matter. But for the simple 101 candle magic today, I suggest use one of these candles. Now, that might not work for everybody because having this centered on your altar or your your fireplace hearth at home or on a nightstand, it may look a little suspicious. Maybe somebody knows that these are associated with magical candles. Maybe you've got to keep it very, very simple. So if you can't have an open flame going for long periods of time, we've got other options for you. We've got some other smaller little candles that we can use. These candles, these little guys are known as chime candles. These are actually often used, you see them with like the carousels or those little metal objects that go in circles because the heat propels these little, what they call chime ornaments, or that's why we know these as chime candles, but they're little small guys about 3-4 inches. Also, we know these taper candles is kind of the candle you see on your holiday dining table. And then we get into this other realm of candles that are more of the decorative candles like this. We've got the fancy colored jarred items, or these aren't bad. Like there's nothing wrong if you were to want to use one of these candles, but if you were to want to repeat this exercise over and over and over again, and if you are hoping for a consistent message, if you're hoping for a consistent burn pattern, it's best to stick with one type of candle over and over. Lastly, I wanted to share with you one of my favorite little hacks, which is this little tiny birthday candle. So if you don't have the luxury for pets, children, nosy roommates, or you can't leave a candle like this burning, these little itty bitty birthday candles work just as well. They're out in 2 or 3 minutes. And so this is an option that you can also use in this ritual, in this working that we're going to get into in just a second. Anytime you get into these more decorative fragrance, oils, essential oils, synthetic waxes, sometimes they burn with a lot of black soot because of those additives. They can interfere, disrupt with those natural burn patterns. So I know that for today's exercise, we're really keeping it simple. This is not advanced candle burning magic, but there are a lot of advisors that really like to work with clients and like to assist them in manifestation. So I just want you to know that I am one of the advisors that helps with positive affirmations and manifestations using candles. So there are ways of burning series. Maybe you want that new job, maybe you want a new relationship. There are ways of focusing and meditating and drawing that energy to you. Today, we're keeping it really simple so all of you can participate in this beginner exercise using candles. So, after you've chosen your candle of choice, you are going to focus on one, not a laundry list of 101 different things that you want to manifest, but one thing that you want to focus and manifest. As I said earlier, we've got the winter solstice, we've got Yule coming up on the 21st. So this is just in time for you guys if you really wanted to make a bigger ritual out of this for the 21st or New Year's. Get your tools ready, start planning, start thinking about what is it that you really want to hone in on and focus in on. And once you have that, we're going to start with how you consecrate your candle. So we're getting into the magic, the ritual part of this. You've got all your tools, you've got your candle, and I'm going to focus on what is it that I want to manifest. Now, if I'm working with one of these glass enclosed vigil candles, I can take a Sharpie marker, I can take a black grease pen, I can take a printout from my printer using Mod Podge, and I can paint an image on and Mod Podge it on. Or I can also write a petition or prayer on a little piece of paper, and I can slide that underneath the candle as it sits and burns. So there's options for you depending on what speaks to you, if you need to be more discreet about it. But your first step is preparing your petition. And why that's important is because we all know that the magic, that the power lies within. The power is not within the tools. The power is the purpose, the focus is our power. And we are putting this into something that's giving us a visual because of that sense, our eyes, our sense of smell, being able to touch this, walk by it, and remind us over and over and over again that we are manifesting this energy. So it's important for you to be so clear on what your intention is, not, well, I really am thinking about maybe a new job. I don't know. No, it's, I will have a new job by January 15th, that it has to be written, or your mindset has to be so clear. So before you even begin the working, you want to be clear on what it is you want to manifest. Once you are, you either write that on the glass, you put it on your little petition paper underneath, you consecrate this candle by charging it for that purpose. After you've done so, I like to spend just an extra minute or two charging this candle using my hands and the way that I hold it. So I'm taking my left hand, which is our receiving side. You often hear me say, as above, so below. That's a very common phrase used in metaphysics, used in manifestation, where we're taking our left side of our body, which is our receiving side, and our right side, which is our sending side. So I am with my left hand putting it over the top, my right hand underneath, and I'm going to hold this up against my chest, against my heart, and I'm going to pray for a minute. I'm meditating as I'm continually clear on what it is I'm trying to manifest and bring in. As above, so below. And this is going to be what's manifested into the universe. After I have consecrated this candle with my prayer, I can then set my candle and I can light it, and I watch it burn. Now, ideally, with these candles, we don't want to blow them out. We don't want to push out that or stifle that energy. We don't want to smother or push away that energy. We want to continue allowing that energy to burn, to send out into the universe. So, if you have pets or children and you are coming and going, we don't want to risk any fire issues. So, this is smart to keep in a shower, a deep sink, on top of a cookie sheet, or somewhere where if it gets knocked over, you're going to be fire safe and it's not going to burn or cause any issues, because you never know when you are working with magical tools what may happen. I've had candles explode and wax go everywhere. So I'm not joking when I say be extra, extra, extra careful. So we're going to keep this on a fireproof surface and ideally let it burn all the way out. That's why these little chime candles are an alternative, or these little birthday candles are a quick and easy 2-3 minutes. You can ground center, consecrate the candle just the same, light it, and 3-4 minutes later, you're done. And then the next time, the next day, if it's every day of the week, if it's every Friday, until your dreams are manifested, whatever consistent way that you want to go about this until that goal is achieved. I can answer questions about that later if that's something you want more detail on. But whatever tool you use, just stay consistent with those tools. And if you have questions that come up along the way, you can reach out to me. You could reach out to some of the other advisors that do manifestation work and know a little bit about candle magic to help you maybe fine tune it a little bit. Maybe you might want help writing a petition or help getting even clear on what your goals are. That's what we're here for. If you want to schedule readings, if you want to get a little help and clarity ahead of time, I highly suggest that, because we want to do this right before the new year. So we are taking this time to focus on our goals and how we can show up in 2026 is the best version of ourselves for ourselves and for our loved ones. So it's important to really get clear before the new year or before that winter solstice, because we've got some really powerful dates ahead of us that can incorporate this magic for us to achieve those dreams. One thing I wanted to talk about in choosing colors, and I know that if you're aware of these candles and you've seen these before, you know they come in different colors. So to keep it really simple, I like to use the visuals associated with colors and color magic. So red, if you think of red and you think of Valentine's, love, hearts, think red, love. A light version of that would be pink. Pink's a little bit more along the friendship line. So think red, love. Think green, money. If we're thinking about dollar bills and we're thinking of money, or $100 bills, we think of the color green. So that's just a visual to think of green. If I'm working on a new career or wanting to save for a down payment on a home, I would work with the color green. Blue is healing, and I think of water, the mother ocean. We think of healing waters, ocean waters. So think blue water waves. That's just a visual reminder for healing, blue. And then last is yellow. And this might be a little trickier to see because yellow doesn't show as good on camera, but that is a big yellow sun. Think of yellow sunshine. What happens when that sun comes up every day? It's a new day. So think yellow, new opportunities, new births, family members, celebrations, anything that's like a whole different direction in life or something new. We want to work with the color yellow. So again, that's keeping it very, very simple. And if you don't have access to those colors, good old fashioned white vigil candle is the all-purpose color for you.